So that was an accident. I would love to say that I was smart enough to do that, but I wasn't. Stupid mistake.
The heartbreaking story of Matt from Matt's Off-Road Recovery shows how quickly success can unravel with a single misstep. From a small-town tow truck operator to a YouTube phenomenon with nearly 2 million subscribers and millions of views, Matt Wetzel's rise captivated audiences around the world. But in 2021, his fame came crashing down when he was charged with a second-degree felony for insurance fraud. Despite his popularity and visibility, Matt's business took a devastating hit. By late 2021, he found himself facing the kind of life-changing moment no YouTuber ever expects. Up until then, his channel, centered around his towing company, Winder Towing, had built a loyal audience who loved watching him recover stranded vehicles in rugged spots like Sand Hollow State Park. His reputation seemed solid until legal trouble emerged, serious accusations of insurance fraud involving none other than AAA, a brand synonymous with trust. Investigators allege that between 2019 and mid-2020, Winder Towing submitted multiple claims with material misrepresentations, resulting in AAA paying out more than $15,000 for services that should not have been covered. One particular case involving an off-road Paul Aries RZR exposed how claims were being filed under someone else's AAA membership, which set off deeper investigations. When contacted by authorities, Matt admitted responsibility but insisted the work had always been done in good faith, calling it wrong on the front end, but fair on the back. He even claimed AAA had been underpaying him significantly and that other towing companies were quietly bending rules to make up a difference. To make matters worse, Matt revealed that a former friend attempted to blackmail him, demanding 40% ownership of his YouTube channel in exchange for staying silent. In the end, though, Matt avoided the harshest penalties. Through a plea deal, his felony was reduced to a misdemeanor, and he was sentenced to 18 months of probation while repaying over $15,000 to AAA and additional fines. His YouTube channel, however, never stopped. Videos continued, fans kept watching, and his loyal audience stood by him. Perhaps they saw his transparency as a sign of character, or maybe they simply loved the content enough to separate the man from the controversy. Long before the channel's massive success, though, Matt was simply a hard-working man shaped by real-life lessons, not algorithms. His story, while filled with triumph and turmoil, reveals the strength of his values, his work ethic, and his determination to keep moving forward. Even when life pulled him into the deepest mud, behind every click and every like, there's a story of someone who never set out to be famous, but simply wanted to do right by others. For Matt, that story begins not with YouTube, but with a pair of work gloves and the kinds of jobs most people would avoid if they could. His early life was shaped by the kind of labor that leave your hands callous and your muscles sore, but also fills you with pride. Roofing, for example, wasn't just a summer gig for him. It was a trial by heat, height, and hustle. While most kids counted down the days to summer break, Matt was up on rooftops, learning precision, stamina, and the reward of seeing something come together under his own hands. He often said those years taught him more than a trade. They taught him the satisfaction of finishing something tough, dirty, and real. Farming added another layer to his character, instilling patience, resourcefulness, and resilience. Growing up around agriculture, Matt learned that farming doesn't wait for weekends or fatigue. You figure things out on your own when the tractor won't start at dawn and there's no mechanic in sight. Those lessons in problem-solving and adaptation later fueled his off-road recovery skills, where quick thinking and creativity often meant the difference between success and failure. He also credited farming's seasonal rhythm with teaching him how to plan ahead and prepare for challenges, lessons that carried directly into his work. So when people see Matt pull off a seemingly impossible recovery in the middle of nowhere, it's not magic. It's a mindset forged long before the cameras ever rolled. But what truly drove Matt to create his recovery channel and business wasn't just the thrill of pulling vehicles out of sand or mud. It was something deeper. He knew what it felt like to be stranded, that helpless panic when your vehicle is stuck and you don't know what to do next. Growing up in a small, close-knit community in southern Utah, he saw how neighbors helped without being asked, simply because it was the right thing to do. That ethic of service became the foundation for everything Matt built. He's often said the best part of his job isn't the recovery itself, but the look of relief on a person's face when they realize someone actually showed up to help. Even as his channel grew and the business expanded, Matt never retreated behind a desk. If there was a tough recovery to do, he was there, boots on the ground, rope in hand, sleeves rolled up, because to him, leadership means showing up and working alongside your team. His years of field work gave him an almost instinctive ability to assess recoveries, spotting risks others might miss and finding the safest path forward. What surprises many people who discover Matt on YouTube is how genuine he is. That respectful, easygoing tone isn't a performance. It's who he is. He believes in treating everyone, whether customer, employee, or stranger, with dignity. Matt didn't wake up one day with a business or platform. He built it brick by brick, choice by choice. And what he built is more than impressive. It's a blueprint. His journey from roofing and farming to towing and recovery shows that resilience, values, and service can build not just a career, but a legacy. After more than a decade in roofing, including co-owning Skyline Roofing for 2 years, Matt decided it was time for a new path. He sold his share in the company and purchased the assets of a local towing business, founding Red Ryder Towing. Not long after, in 2013, he took a bigger leap, buying Winder Towing, an established company that gave him a foundation to grow. Around that time, he noticed a spike in off-road recovery calls, a challenge he wasn't yet equipped for. Instead of modifying existing tow trucks, Matt thought outside the box. He bought a 2001 Jeep Cherokee, built it up, painted it yellow, and unknowingly created what would later become iconic, the Banana. As more and more recovery stories piled up, Matt found himself constantly sharing wild tales of the job with two of his closest friends, one a nuclear engineer and the other an airline pilot, both of whom had steady, quiet careers with long stretches of downtime. They admitted they were living vicariously through his dirt-covered adventures, and it was actually them who first nudged him toward YouTube. Their thought was simple: why not turn those jaw-dropping recoveries into something the whole world could see? Matt, however, was hesitant. "I can't even run a laptop," he chuckled. "I'm technologically impaired that way." Who hasn't felt that overwhelmed by tech at some point? Still, he gave it a shot, stumbling across a mobile app called LumaFusion that let him edit video straight from his iPhone. That's when things started to click. He began filming recoveries himself, sometimes propping his phone up with sticks and rocks or handing it to anyone nearby willing to help. For over a year and a half, he kept up this exhausting rhythm, running a 24-hour towing business by day and editing videos late into the night after his family went to bed. Sleep was scarce, but he pushed through because something told him it might be worth it. About 6 to 8 months in, that instinct proved right when one of his videos crossed a 1 million view mark. From that moment, everything shifted. His channel didn't just grow, it exploded. Views jumped from a few thousand to hundreds of thousands, and sometimes millions. People were hooked, and Matt realized he had something special. But he didn't take success for granted. Determined to understand the platform, he invested $5,000 into a YouTube growth course taught by Daryl Eves. To Matt, it was like cracking a code. If you can't keep the audience's attention, they'll move on, he explained. Everybody's looking for the least boring thing to watch. That mindset drove how he shaped every video, always interesting, always honest, always real. A big part of what made his content stand out was his attitude toward the people he helped. Viewers often wondered aloud, what were they thinking after seeing the situations customers wound up in? But Matt never judged. Most of the time, he explained, they were just people chasing adventure who got in over their heads. That empathy made a difference. It wasn't just about pulling cars out of sand or snow. It was about connecting with people, helping them, and telling their stories without shame. That humility and realness kept viewers coming back video after video. As the channel grew, so did the team. Matt wasn't just building a business. He was building a family. His crew weren't just employees. They laughed together, worked together, and hit the road together, becoming part of something bigger. Calls started pouring in from well beyond his usual territory. Though he often referred long-distance jobs to volunteer recovery groups, he still accepted about 40% of them, sometimes because a story or situation was simply too interesting to pass up. With the YouTube boom came new opportunities. AdSense revenue was just the beginning. Matt added sponsorships, affiliate partnerships, branded merchandise, and even launched his own custom line of kinetic recovery ropes. "Every year, we crush the global nylon kinetic rope market," he said proudly. Who would have thought ropes could become a powerful symbol of the brand? But perhaps the biggest evolution was the creation of Matt's Off-Road Games. What started as a small business turned into a full-blown brand with a massive fan event at Sand Hollow State Park. The games brought together off-road experts and YouTube personalities for 3 days of competition, food trucks, meet and greets, vendor shows, and massive giveaways, including a Polaris XP General 1000 Ultimate worth $41,000 in 2025. By then, it was clear this wasn't just a towing business anymore. It was a lifestyle, a community, and an entertainment empire, something far beyond what Matt had imagined when he first stepped away from roofing. But with all the growth came challenges, and none cut deeper than betrayal. Beyond the legal trouble he was already facing with AAA, something far more personal shook him, a falling out with Casey. This wasn't just another employee or casual partner. Casey had been there from the beginning, appearing in nearly every early video, someone fans recognized and rooted for. To Matt, he wasn't just a teammate but a true friend, practically family. They had built the channel side by side, sharing long days, tough jobs, inside jokes, and the grind of starting from scratch. But as viewership and revenue exploded, something changed. According to Matt, Casey's attitude shifted, subtle comments, a different tone, until one day he came forward with a shocking demand, 40% of the channel's income. Not a raise, not a bonus, nearly half of everything. He insisted he was the reason viewers tuned in, not the stories, not the recoveries, not even Matt. At first, Matt was stunned, thinking it might just be a bad day or frustration talking. But when he refused, things allegedly turned darker. Casey threatened to ruin him. He warned that he had collected years' worth of private information and would use it to put Matt behind bars for insurance fraud. But instead of calming down, things escalated. Casey followed up with a formal cease-and-desist letter, demanding either $40,000 or that every trace of him, his name, his business, and even his family be wiped clean from the channel. Matt refused, standing his ground and unwilling to give in to what felt like blackmail. And then, just when things couldn't get more surreal, they did. As Matt tells it, Casey allegedly took everything he knew from working closely within the business and handed it over to the investigators. He snitched, Matt said, turning what had already been a stressful legal situation into something far more complicated. The weight of betrayal, mixed with the pressure of defending himself legally, became a heavy load to carry. In response, Matt did what he felt he had to do. He scrubbed the channel of every video, every mention, every image that included Casey or his family. It wasn't out of spite, he explained, but about protecting the integrity of the brand, the audience, and maybe even his own sanity. Because how do you keep watching videos of someone who, in your eyes, just tried to destroy everything you built together? It wasn't about what was lost, but about what was rebuilt in the aftermath. What followed was a story not just of betrayal, but of resilience, redemption, and one man learning, step by step, how to move forward. After everything, legal battles, the fallout with close friends, the sting of betrayal, most people might have expected Matt to give up. Who wouldn't? When the world feels like it's falling apart, when trusted allies turn their backs, and when public judgment collides with personal heartbreak, quitting can seem like the easiest path. But Matt didn't quit. He didn't disappear. He didn't let the chaos define him. Instead, he chose to keep going, even when the road ahead was uncertain. According to those who followed his journey closely, Matt stayed grounded, kept creating content, and held his business together through it all. More than that, he stayed transparent and grateful. In one heartfelt message, he thanked his community. Thanks to all of you that have supported me through this and continue to support me and my team moving forward. That kind of response didn't come from someone trying to save face, but from someone who genuinely cared and understood the importance of standing tall when things get tough. People close to the situation often describe Matt's response as both mature and deeply human. Instead of letting bitterness consume him, he poured his energy into rebuilding what had been shaken. The most incredible part? His audience stood by him. His YouTube viewership remained steady, with about 6 million people engaging across platforms, and his 1.4 million subscribers didn't go anywhere. Why? Maybe because they saw something real in Matt, something beyond the drama and the headlines. They saw a man who wasn't trying to be perfect, just someone trying to do the right thing. And in an online world where trust can be fragile, that kind of authenticity meant everything. Even as changes came behind the scenes, Matt handled them with grace. Lizzie and Tom, two major figures on his team, eventually parted ways with the channel, but not because of scandal or bitterness. Lizzie left to pursue a quieter dream of ranch life, openly sharing that her relationship with Matt was still strong. My relationship with Matt is great. I will see all these people regularly. It wasn't a dramatic farewell, just a new chapter. As a gesture of gratitude, Matt gave her a 2016 Ford F-150 EcoBoost, a meaningful thank you. When Tom later decided to move on, Matt gifted him a 2023 Ford Bronco. These weren't just vehicles. They were tokens of appreciation, memories forged in metal and horsepower. So what does this say about Matt? What kind of leader responds to loss and betrayal with kindness instead of retaliation? What kind of person continues to lift others up even when is being pulled down? Look closely, and a pattern emerges. Resilience, yes, but also respect. Respect for people, for relationships, for second chances. Matt didn't try to control every outcome or badmouth those who left. He chose to honor their contributions, let them go with dignity, and keep his focus on what still mattered: his mission, his team, and a community that never stopped showing up. With this, we've come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content.